What's good, RIZZLE fam? As we predicted in some of our earlier videos about YSL and Young Thug, snitches are finally coming out. Plea deals are being made left and right, and gang members are walking away as free citizens. Last week we saw a couple of them leave, and one of them wasn't the topic of our discussion just yet. That person's a guy who goes by the name of Walter Murphy. You better know him by the street name, DK. See, DK had quite a past with the cops, and the fact that he walked out with a plea, just like Gunna, tells us a lot of things. Most importantly, it tells us that he probably snitched on his fellow YSL members once again. So why do we say again? Well, this is not the first time he cooperated with the boys in blue in order to free himself. But let's start from the obvious, and then we'll get to that part. Even though the famous YSL RICO case moved slowly since it began, with just a few important developments happening every now and then, things are looking different today. Unlike in May, the pace is hectic. The fate of almost all the YSL members could be sealed in just a few weeks that are coming. Whatever's told by the press, and no matter who's telling the story, everyone knows that this entire RICO case revolves around basically one person, Thugger. There's been a lot of controversy around his name since he's been called out by the prosecutors in his case to be the alleged leader of the YSL group, which apparently is not only a record label, but something much more. You see, YSL has been called a criminal gang. That's why we've been slammed with racketeering charges. At the time, there was nothing but an accusation from the prosecutor's side. But now there's plenty of evidence that tells us there might actually be true. And once the ship starts to sink, people are going to start jumping off in an attempt to save their own lives. We can see that happening already. Just last week, Gunna and DK, they took plea deals and walked out of jail. According to him, and also his lawyer, Gunna did not snitch in order to dodge RICO charges. Despite the courtroom videos circulating the internet, showing that he did in fact snitch, this was his formal statement to the press. While I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way.
He gave the order, or I heard from someone else he gave the order. That's what this case is about. You're not going to hear any confession of Jeffrey Williams.
So every time there is a potential link to anything, his name comes up.
When you target a human being who's so well known, you make it so easy for the other person to say, oh, you mean I could be released from this?
One thing that Gunna got incorrect in this statement is that he actually will have to appear in court if he gets called up. And that's a part of his plea deal, and he also cannot defend himself by taking the Fifth Amendment. In other words, he messed up Thugger's case pretty badly. His lawyers will have to find a way to deal with this situation, as well as the whole pile of evidence that's already stacking up against him. However, it gets even worse. Like we mentioned earlier, Gunna is far from being the only one talking to the cops and finding a way out for himself. One of the guys who did the same is DK, the co-founder of YSL, who started the gang with Thugger and another person back in 2012. Walter Murphy, aka DK, walked out on Tuesday, December 13th when his attorneys worked out a plea agreement for him. DK pled guilty to the RICO charges, and he received 1 year off his 10-year sentence. The remaining 9 years of his sentence, he'll be on supervised probation. If he meets all the deal's conditions in the first 5 years, then DK will be off probation and the rest of his sentence is going to be canceled. But DK must not be arrested for anything above an aggravated misdemeanor, or the deal is off. In an interview with Atlanta's WSB TV Channel 2, Murphy said the YSL is not a gang. I'd rather say it's more like a record label or a family. Once upon a time, I was actually a road manager on that label. Similar to Gunna, DK also swore to show up in court if they called him to be a witness. It was a part of his plea document where he also swore not to commit criminal acts or possess a gun during his sentence. But this is not DK's first time dealing with prison. It's also not the first time walking out before his time was served. He messed real bad twice before. First, he got charged for armed robbery, but he managed to get away with that one since the victim, a guy called Derek Datson, who was dating his cousin, committed suicide. But before he took his own life, he wanted revenge. He allegedly shot at DK, and he also pistol whipped his baby mama. We found out that piece of information because DK and his girl both went to the police and talked. However, the second time around, he didn't find a way to get away with what he did. While he was out on bond for the first charge, he fired a rifle at 4 people, and he badly injured one of the 4. The person suffered a bullet wound to the head. Luckily, the man survived. In total, DK was supposed to serve over 20 years for both of these crimes. However, after 8 years, he walked out. And as we already know, his name is also mentioned in the RICO indictment alongside Gunna and Thugger's. Racketeering charges came to his name, as they did for many others, but after 7 months of prison, he took a plea and he walked out. Much like before, he again talked to the police. He admitted, just like Gunna, that YSL is in fact a street gang. Plus, he said that he, Young Thug, and another member whose name has been hidden started YSL back in 2012. We can only assume that DK admitted to something similar as Gunna, but we can't say for sure since there's no video from the courtroom. DK probably said that YSL is a gang and that he witnessed members committing crimes. There are now 3 other YSL members who took plea deals just like Gunna and DK. All of them either snitched or confirmed some of the information that the prosecutors wanted to stick with Young Thug. The third in line to take this plea deal is Slime Life Shawty, a YSL rapper from Atlanta. Apparently, he took a plea deal as well, but since he's not on the radar of mass media, it's uncertain what kind of deal he took. All we can say for certain that he was also called a snitch by the community. However, he decided to reply to everyone with an Instagram story telling them, "Yeah, I'm home, ain't have to snitch to get here dead. I admitted Young Slime was a gang cause I ain't illegal for no group to be a gang. Look it up, that don't hurt nobody and anybody can be a gang. Plus the founder already admitted it, stupid. What I post to say if a founder admitted it." Some say he's got an alibi going, others believe he's speaking nonsense. However, there are 2 more members who got out just a few days ago too.
And Martinez Arnold, rap name Little Duke, cut deals.
One of them, another ATL rapper, is Martinez Arnold, aka Lil Duke, and the other is Thugger's brother, Quintavious Greer. Unfook is the last person we saw take the plea deal and walk out of jail. He'll be serving 10 years on probation, and he's got 750 hours of community service waiting for him as well. Part of the deal also implies that Unfook cannot contact his brother until his trial's over. To sum it up, people are surprised to see so many plea deals coming up just before Thugger's trial. Some believe it's because the state doesn't have a strong case. The state doesn't have a good case against him. That's why they're offering up probation for RICO charges. You can't say they all small fish cause Gunna high profile. His brother and co-founder are big players in their own right. If the state had a good case against them, they'd at least get some jail time. The DEA is begging them not to take that to trial. Others still don't understand why someone would get himself involved in gangster life to begin with. Ain't nobody got away with it so far. One person said, "Young generation want to be gangsters, but they overlook the fact that till this day has never been a story of a successful gangster in human history." What do y'all make of the recent plea deals being given to YSL members? You think all of them snitched on Thugger and that he's gonna get a lot of time to serve? Or do you think state actually lacks arguments? Let us know what you think about it in the comments section below. If you like this video, then drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching to the end, and remember to keep it RIZZLE.